Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become nice and comfortable in our seated position. Find a nice cushion or a block, a pillow, blanket, something that will support your spine, elongating your spine in the back of your neck, opening up your chest and opening up your diaphragm and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the 8th and final limb of yoga called Samadhi. Samadhi is usually referred to as a state of enlightenment or a state of bliss. We are spiritual beings who happen to have a body. When we move past the mind-body, as Eckhart Tolle calls it, then every moment can become an opportunity to practice our journey toward Samadhi. Sama, sorry. Sama meaning equal and di meaning to see. Samadhi is the ability to see equally, to see without disturbances from the mind, without habits, and without a need to judge or become attached to any particular aspect. In other words, in Samadhi, you are aware only of the essence and not the details. The ability to see equally is to have a state of consciousness where individual awareness dissolves into the greater whole, and we see that the pure spirit in ourself, in everyone, and in everything becomes one and equal. And Samadhi is the next step beyond meditation. Oftentimes it's said that you can't achieve this unless you're a monk or you or Buddha or someone of that nature. Those who practice meditation may get glimpses of that on occasion. That's Samadhi. And for those who aren't practicing meditation or aren't getting glimpses of that, even though they are meditation, it's in essence, I'm going to repeat that one phrase there. It's that you are aware of the essence and not the details, that you can see things as one, become one with them. And so just kind of keep that vision in mind. So when we go to our meditation this morning, I'd like us to focus on the word namaste. Namaste actually translates to I bow to you. We start our practice that way with that greeting. And it represents the belief that there is a divine spark within each of us, and it's located at the heart. So that's why we use the mudra, Anjali mudra. It's bringing our hands together, united at the heart, and it's a gesture of love and respect and equality. So we are seeing each other equally. The spirit in me, the essence in me, sees the essence in you, not the details. I don't care about your color of your skin or your height or your weight. It's the essence. So let's just take a moment to meditate, gentle meditation. And if you'd like to bring your hands into the Anjali mudra position and just reflect on the words of love, respect, and equality. We'll just take a few moments to do that, and I'll meet you at the mat. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's asana, we're going to actually have a little pranayama portion to it to start off with. And we're going to do the seated sun breaths, but the Samadhi, the equal length breathing technique, we're going to try to employ that. So I'm going to start with a count of 4, and then I'll say it out loud, and then I'll drift off. And if 4 doesn't work for you, 5 or 6 maybe works better for you, you do that. So we're going to just kind of evenly inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can continue on your own for a few moments here. And you can all meet me back at the mat, the fingertips on the mat. And we'll do that same thing, and I'm not going to count out loud, but fine, use the count that has been comfortable for you. And we're just going to make a nice even flow, what I call sun twist. So we're going to come up with a nice even inhale, and then come back down, twisting to the left on the same count. So inhale, lift up, again, pivoting over to the right, and then come down using the same count. Inhale, come up, twist, exhale, using the same count. We'll just continue that for a few moments. Might be a different count than the first one. And then return to center when you're ready. We're going to roll down on our backs on the mat. You can use your hands under your knees and just do a quick method, just roll back, or you can bend your knees and roll back one vertebrae at a time, or bring your legs down all the way and one vertebrae at a time, whichever is your preference. And once you're down on your back, you bring your knees to your chest and give them a nice hug. And we're going to wrap our hands, interlace our fingers and wrap our hands around our left knee and extend our right leg to the bottom of the mat. And let's have it hover a little bit above the mat with the toes pointing up to the sky. And then we're going to point our toes and then flex our feet, both of them, up to the sky, and point both toes and flex. And we're going to exhale with the point, inhale with the flex, exhale with the point, inhale with the flex, exhale with the point, Inhale with a flex. Exhale with a point. Inhale with a flex. Inhale, exhale with a point. Inhale with a flex. And then we're going to stop and we're going to raise our right leg all the way up into the sky so that the sole of our foot is reaching to the sky. And we still have our hand wrapped around our left knee, knee to chest. And then we're going to take our right foot and we're going to bring it down to the 1 o'clock position. And then bring it down to the 2 o'clock position. And then maybe try to get down to the 3 o'clock. I think I get down to 2:15 today. And just let gravity help you. And maybe breathe, take a few deep breaths. And on the exhale, just relax your legs, see if it goes down any further. No, mine's staying pretty steady. So let's go back, inhale back up to 2 o'clock. And then inhale back up to 1 o'clock. And then inhale back up to 12 o'clock. And bring your knee to your chest and hug both knees together. Feel the difference in your right leg versus your left leg. Feel a little more energized. And then we'll do that on the same stuff on the other side. So interlace your fingers and wrap them around your right knee, sending your left leg down to the bottom of the mat. Feet are flexed. We're going to point our toes and then flex both feet up so the toes are pointing to the sky. Point the toes down to the bottom of the mat and then flex the feet, toes pointing up to the sky. Exhale, point, inhale, flex. 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 Exhale, point, and then we're going to bring our left foot all the way up to the sky. So the sole of our foot is reaching for the sky. And that's 12 o'clock position. And we're going to do go to the left. So go to the 11 o'clock position, keeping our hands around our right knee, knee to chest. And then the left foot comes down to 10 o'clock position. And then let's see if it can go down to the 9 o'clock. Nope. At 9:45 p.m. That's it. So I'm going to take a few deep breaths and see if I can relax my leg, let it lower a little more. Alrighty, then we'll come up to the 10 o'clock position. And then up to the 11 o'clock position. And back to the 12 o'clock position. And bring your knee to your chest and give both legs a nice hug against your chest. And I'm going to slide our hands down our legs toward our feet and come into happy baby. So if you can wrap your hands around the outer edges of your foot, sides of your feet, sending the soles of your feet up to the sky. Knees are coming down toward the mat. Your lower back is coming down toward the mat. Just bringing that tailbone as down toward the mat as is comfortable for you. Let's just spend a moment here in happy baby. Think how happy you are. And then we'll bring our knees to our chest once again. And you can roll over to your side, or you can rock and roll, bringing yourself back up to a seated position. And we're going to come into tabletop. So I'll meet you in tabletop. I'm going to rock and roll my way back up. Crossing my feet, over my legs, and backing up. In tabletop, our wrists are right below our shoulders. Fingers are splayed out, index finger reaching toward the top of the mat. Knees are right below your hips. Navel's tucked to your spine. We'll exhale, rounding our back, tucking our head and tailbone down for cat. Then inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up for cow. And then exhale, rounding our back, tucking our tailbone and head down for cat. Nice stretch. Then inhale, lifting our head up, sending our gaze straight ahead. The drishti points for cow. And then exhale again for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And just continue on at your own pace. And then come back to tabletop, back to a neutral spine. With your hands right below your shoulders, your wrists right below your shoulders, and make sure that your weight's evenly distributed in both hands, and you're pushing down into your hands so that you're creating space between your shoulders and your ears. And we're going to bring both knees together, and we're going to send our right foot down to the bottom of the mat, curling our toes under so that our feet are on the ball, or our foot is on the ball, and then kind of pushing our heel toward the bottom of the mat, stretch out our leg. And just push your heel toward the bottom of the mat. You feel that stretch in your leg. And then we're going to lift our right leg up to hip height and then bring our heel back toward our hips. Keep your foot flexed or pointed, whatever is comfortable for you. And then you'll probably realize, as I just did, that my shoulders are starting to slump down toward the mat. Again, push down into the mat so that you have your arms straight and your shoulders have that space between your shoulders and your ears. So then we're going to kick our foot out. You can, again, point or flex, and then bring that heel back toward our hip. And then straighten out again. And bring it back toward the hip. We're trying to keep our hip bones parallel to the mat as well. Extend your foot toward the bottom of the mat. And then bring your heel back toward your hip. And kick your foot back down toward the bottom of the mat. Bring the heel back toward your hip. And then kick your foot back down toward the bottom of the mat and bring it back down, foot back down to the mat, And then bring your knee back and joining the other knee. So we're back to tabletop with our knees together. Again, check in with your hands. Make sure you have some pressure against the mat to create that nice space between your shoulders and your ears. And we'll do that with the other leg too. So send your left foot down to the bottom of the mat, curling your toes under so you're on the ball of your foot, and then pushing your heel toward the back of the mat. And just kind of do a few pushes to feel that energy in your leg. And then we're going to lift that left leg up to hip height. Again, check on your hands, make sure you're pushing down into the mat. Hip bones are parallel to the mat. And then we're going to kick or bring our heel back toward our hip and then kick it down toward the bottom of the mat. Bring it back toward our hip. Kick it back down toward the bottom of the mat. Bring it toward our hip and kick it back down toward the bottom of the mat. Bring it toward our hip one last time. Kick it down toward the bottom of the mat and bring your foot back down, and then bring your knees back together again. We're going to sit back on our feet. So sit back on our ankles. We're in a kneeling position. You can either have your feet, tops of your feet flat on the mat, or curl them under and rest on the heels of your feet. Either one, whichever is more comfortable for you. I like my tops of my feet down. And then we're going to do some chest openers. So bring your hands around the back of your hips, relaxing your shoulders, rolling them back, opening up your chest. And then we're going to extend our hands away from our hips and bring our fingers over to the right side, so they're resting on our right waistline. And then inhale, bring them fully back again, in back of our hips, extending them out. And then exhale, bring them over to the left waistline. Inhale, extend them back. Exhale to the right side. Inhale, extend them back. Exhale to the left side. Inhale, extend them back. Exhale over to the right side. Inhale, extend them back. Exhale over to the left side. And inhale, extend them back. And then just release them down toward your hips and release your fingers. We'll bring our hands back to the mat, curl our toes under and walk our hands back, coming into the squat position around the balls of our feet. And then we're going to push down to lift up into mountain pose. We'll do our mountain essentials of good posture. So our big toes are pointing to the straight edge of the mat. We'll lift our toes up and spread them as wide apart as we can. I keep doing that with my hands. I might as well say, bring your toes and your hands and spread them as far apart as you can. And then bring your toes back down to the mat and lift your heels up off the mat. And bring everything back down to the mat and just feel connected, feel grounded, feel supported by the earth. Our legs are nice and straight with a gentle bend in our knees. Navel's tucked to our spine, elongating our spine and the back of our neck. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin slightly tucked toward our chest, creating a nice flat crown of our head. I'm going to sweep our hands up overhead as a big inhale. And then exhale, bringing our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. And just take a moment to check in this morning. See how everything is. Encountering any tension physically or maybe emotionally. Send some nourishing, loving breaths in that direction. We're going to lift our hands to our shins, flatten out our back, half forward fold. Our gaze, it goes straight down. And then we'll send the crown of our head down toward the mat and just let gravity take over as we just hang here, relax for a moment. And then sweep our hands all the way up with a big inhale. Coming up overhead, we're going to come up onto our tippy toes. Hands are extended way up above our head. And then we're going to bring our hands down as we bring our heels down and do a few sun breaths. So again, sweeping our hands up as we come up onto our tippy toes, inhaling all the way up. And then exhale, bringing our hands down and our heels back down to the mat. We'll do that again, one more with control, sweeping our hands up. On the inhale, coming up onto our tippy toes. And exhale, coming back down on our heels. We're going to extend our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, lift our hands up to our shins, flatten out the back, gaze is straight down for half forward fold. And then exhale, send the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands, sweep them all the way up overhead. Palms come together. For our side stretches, we're going to bring our right hand down to our right thigh and slide it down toward our right knee. Sending a curve to the right. And then inhale, come back up. Palms come together. Left hand comes down to the left thigh and slide that left hand down toward the left knee. Curving to the left. Inhale, come back up. We'll do one more time each side. So right hand comes down the right thigh. Gently slide it down toward your knee. Exhaling as you go. Inhale, come back up. Palms together. Left hand comes down to the left thigh. Slide it down to the left knee. Exhale over to the left side. Inhale, come back up. And our palms come back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold. Really straightening that spine and the back of your neck. And then sending the crown of your head down toward the mat. With a big exhale, sweep your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And what we're going to do here is we're going to have a leg lift. So let's start with a lift of our right leg, planting our left foot snugly into the mat. So when you are in this position, just kind of check to see where your waistline is. You know, have your navel tucked to your spine. Have your hip bones so that they're kind of parallel to the floor. No curving, just have things nice and straight. And then we're going to take our hands and we're going to walk them to our knee. That's the upright knee. And then we're going to walk them down our foot and whoop, can't talk and do this at the same time. Grab our foot, sending our knee down toward the mat. And helping you balance, you might want to keep half of your mudra in place. So we'll stretch out our thigh. And your hand is on your toes. And if you want, you can kind of roll it around your foot so that your hand is really grabbing the ball of your foot right below your big toe. And we can release that, and we'll do that on the other side. So hands back to Anjali mudra. We're going to lift our left leg up. Again, check in. Navel's tucked to the spine. Hip bones are parallel to the mat. Nice straight posture. And then we'll take our hands and walk them to our knee, and then walk them all the way down to our foot. Grab our foot, sending our knee down toward the mat. And the half mudra really helps keep you in line. And if you are able to, twirl your hand around your toes and grab that big ball on the bottom of your foot, right below your big toe. And then we'll release there. Sweep our hands up over our head. Exhale, bringing our hands all the way down to the mat again, bending your knees as we go. Inhale, half forward fold, straightening out our back, our spine and neck is nice and long. And send the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweep our hands all the way up overhead. Big inhale, hands come together, hands come to heart center. And then hands come to the back of our hips for supported back bend. So our feet are about hip width apart. Palms of our hands are against our hip bones, fingers pointing down. Shoulders are nice and relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked toward your chest, and then just relax your shoulders and let them drop back. And check in with your breath. See how it is, if it's nice and evenly flowing, or if it seems a little shallow, you may want to adjust upward, so you can gain that nice even flow of your breath. And then come back up. Great. On to the next page. So we're going to sweep our hands all the way up overhead. And then exhale, bring them down. Bring your hands all the way down to the mat, bending your knees as you go. And then we're going to send both feet back to up dog, or downward, not up dog, that's later. Downward dog. And then we're gonna just walk our dog for a little bit. So our feet are pedaling. Fingers are splayed wide apart, index finger pointing up to the top of the mat. Arms are nice and straight. Remember, the drishti is actually looking at your navel. So if you do that, it'll bring your chest closer to your thighs, extending your hips upward. And then we're going to take our right knee, bring it toward our right elbow, pushing off with our left toes. And then back again to downward dog. Pedal out here for a moment. And then with the next inhale, bring that right knee to the right elbow again, pushing off with the left toes. And then back to downward dog. Pedal out your dog. And on the third one, we're going to bring our right foot up between our hands, coming into runner's lunge. So inhale, lift your right foot up, bring it between your hands so that it's framed by the hands. Knee is right over your ankle. Back foot, you're pushing your heel to the back of the mat. And just really lift your hands just for a moment, just to feel anchored in that position. And then we're going to lift up our chest and send our hands back so that they're in airplane hands. Take a few deep breaths. And then bring our hands back down. We're going to take our right foot, bring it all the way down to the bottom of the mat, come into plank pose. So our shoulders are right above our wrists. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine. And we're going to lower to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Keeping our elbows tucked to the side. And then once we're on the mat, we're going to slide our hands forward and come into Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose, our elbow is right below our shoulder. Fingertips are extended out in front of us. You're actually pushing down into your elbows like we were pushing down into our hands with tabletop. So you're pushing down to your elbows to create that space between your shoulder and ear here. And the tops of your feet are pushing down, create, to activate your legs. Then we take our left fingers and just pivoting on our left elbow, we take our left fingers and place them on our right arm, right where the elbow is. So you're creating kind of a letter L with your hands and arms. And then we're going to take our right foot and reach it toward our hips. And you can either keep your foot flexed or pointed, whichever is more comfortable for you. So bring it toward your hip, and then we'll send it back down to the mat. And again, make sure your elbows are pushing down. Keep that chest open. Inhale, lift your foot. Bring the heel toward your hip. And then bring it back down to the mat. And then inhale, lift your foot, bringing it toward your hip. And this time, keeping your weight in your left elbow, left arm, we're gonna reach around with our right arm. If you can do this, it's fine if it's a little too strenuous. Another option is bringing your whole chest down to the mat, having your arm ahead, and that actually is a little bit more comfortable. Either one. So bring your hand to your foot, have your elbow, right elbow, pointing up to the sky. And this is called half frog. And then release your right foot down. Bring your hands below your shoulders and just lift your hands off the mat for baby cobra. Your chin and chest are lifted up. And then bring your hands back down to the mat and gently push down, coming up into cobra. And then keep pushing and come into child's pose. And then come back up to tabletop, tuck your toes under, lifting your hips up to the sky, come back to downward dog, and pedal out here for a few moments. And then slowly walk your feet up toward your hands, coming into a forward fold position. And then inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And we're going to go into tree pose. So tree pose, you can do any version that you like. Toes on the mat. We'll start with the right leg, sorry. Right toes on the mat. Right heel on the left ankle. Or you can slide the right sole of your foot up to your inner calf on your left leg, or all the way up to the thigh. And find your trataka, that point in front of you that is still. Your gaze is straight ahead, that's the drishti. Straight ahead gaze and find a point, that's the trataka. And then we're going to pivot our right knee to the front of the mat, keeping half that mudra. We're going to reach down and grab our foot, sending our right knee down to the mat, toward the mat, pointing it toward the mat. Slide your hand around your foot, and we're going to come into dancer pose. So dancer pose, you're going to pivot at the waist, send your hand out, send your foot back, pushing your toes into your right hand. Good. Just experiment with that for a little bit. So let's try that all on the other side now. So back to mountain pose. Big inhale, sweep your hands up overhead. And then exhale, bringing them both down to the mat. Sending both feet back to downward dog. And pedal out here. And catch your breath. And then we're going to take our left knee and bring it to our left elbow, pushing off with our right toes. And then back to downward dog. And pedal out. And then inhale, bringing that left knee again to the left elbow. And then back to downward dog. Pedal out. And then we're going to bring our left foot up between our hands into runner's lunge. So on the inhale, lift your left foot up, guide it between your hands, coming into runner's lunge where your left knee's over your left ankle. Right foot, the heel of your right foot's pushing to the back of the mat. And just take a moment, lift your hands off the mat. See if you feel nice and grounded in this pose. And then we're going to lift our chest and chin up and send our hands back to airplane arms. And then bring our hands back down to the mat. Send our left foot back to meet our right foot, coming into plank pose. Wrists are right below your shoulders. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked to the spine. And then lower to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Elbows tucked to your ribs. And then slide your hands toward the front of the mat, coming into Sphinx pose. Elbows are right below your shoulders, tops of your feet pushing down. Nice active pose. Again, we want to keep our elbows with some energy pushing down into the mat so we can keep that space between our shoulders and our ears. Then we're going to take our right hand, pivoting on our right elbow, bring the right hand over to your left elbow. And then we're going to lift our left foot up, bringing the heel toward our hip, keeping that pressure in our elbows. And then bring that left foot down to the mat. Inhale, lift that left foot up, bringing the heel toward the hip. And then back down toward the mat. And one last time, lift your left foot up, bring the heel toward your hip. And again, we're going to take our left hand, reach around, grabbing our left toes, keeping that pressure in our right elbow to support us. Left elbow extends up to the sky for half frog. Or if that's uncomfortable, you can try it with bringing your right arm forward and bringing your rib cage down to the mat. Either. And then release your foot. Bring both hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to lift the hands off the mat and lift our chest and chin up for baby cobra. And then bring it back down. Hands go back down on the mat, keeping your elbows tucked to your side. We're going to lift our chin and chest, pushing down in our hands, come up into cobra. And then keep pushing up into tabletop and down to extended child pose. And then back up to tabletop. Tuck our toes under, come back up into downward dog, and walk your dog for a moment. And then slowly walk your feet up toward your hands, coming into forward fold. And inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And we'll do tree pose, your version. So left toes on the mat. Left heel against your right ankle. Or slide your left foot up to your inner right calf. Or bring your left foot all the way up to your thigh. And just lock in here for a moment with your drishti and your tritaka. And then slowly pivot your left knee toward the front of the mat, keeping half mudra. You're going to take your left hand, grabbing your left foot, and then swinging your hand around to the inner part of your foot so that you're grabbing a hold of that ball right below your big toe. And then we're going to dancer pose from here. So pivoting at the waist, forward, we're going to extend our right hand forward and push our left foot back into our hand. And then release when you're ready. We'll bring our tippy toes or pinky toes to the edges of the mat and take our heels in at a 45-degree angle. Come into a wide-legged squat, so we'll bring our hands together at heart center, Anjali mudra. Lower our hips down toward the mat, bending our knees out, bringing our torso between our legs, resting our elbows on the inner part of our knees. And just, if you'd like a little more stretch, slide your Anjali mudra down toward the mat. And then when you're ready, you can bring your sit bones down onto the mat. And then we'll roll down one vertebrae at a time, or the express method you choose. I'm just going to bend my knees one vertebrae at a time. Bringing your knees to your chest, give them a nice hug. And rock back and forth. Give your lower back a nice massage. Then if you like, you can draw a nice big full supermoon with your toes. I hope people were able to catch that supermoon this week when the skies weren't overcast. And then if you're making moons, you can reverse the direction. And then bring your knees back to your chest, a nice hug. Send your arms out at shoulder height. Recline spinal twist. So we're just exhale, sending our knees to the right side. And then slowly turn your head to the left, looking at your left fingertips. And slowly turn your head back to center. Inhale, lifting your legs back up to center. And then with an exhale, big exhale, lower your knees to the left side. And then slowly turn your head to the right. Look at your right fingertips. And slowly turn your head back to center. Inhale, lifting your legs back up to center. And then exhale, send your feet down to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. Let your heels rest in the corners of the mat. Let your feet flop open. Arms are extended a little bit away from your side with the palms facing up so that your shoulder blades can get nice and snug into the mat. Take a nice deep inhale and then exhale through your mouth. And just relax. The poem I have for you today is by Danna Faulds called Experience This Moment as It Is. Throw off the bonds of your conditioning and fear and celebrate the wonder of being here. Experience this moment as it is, connected by breath and essence to the whole. You couldn't be separate if you tried. Live this day as if the earth exhales blessings in your direction, as if trees speak their deepest secrets in your ear, as if bird songs can lift you outside your ordinary state of mind and bring you into truth. Be the creative juice flowing through the universe. Be compassion in action and wholeness in motion. Be silence and stillness. The ocean of love so palpable that not one cell of you disputes the truth that you are that.